came actually from Greece to Canada when you were 5.
Yes, I came on a boat, I believe it was called the Christopher Columbus. It was a 13-day journey, which I remember just missing my dog back up at the farm. I didn't really like it, but we landed in Halifax. And, you know, it's a long story. I don't want to really say too much there because, you know, they gave us a bag, a toothbrush, a comb, and everything in there. Silver dollar and welcome to Canada. It was so amazing. But I think I ate the toothpaste, to be honest with you, because I never smelled anything that good in my life.
You'd never seen toothpaste?
I had never seen even a candy bar. I came right from the Greek mountains.
Because you've done so many amazing things. Not only are you an amazing artist, but you're also humanitarian, which really touched my heart, which is why I wanted to speak to you. And you're a foodie. We get to the food at the end.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah.
But as far as artistry, you have an amazing story. We were talking a little bit about being a creative dreamer earlier. So I want you to tell viewers what you were doing before you started painting.
Well, I did like so many different jobs, but I was a carpenter for many years, building custom homes, and you know, although it was you know, art.
Yeah.
You know, basically couldn't even just look at the job. It was like you finish this, move on to the next one. It's a really push, and I really wasn't totally happy inside. My soul wasn't singing. So at 47, I said, that's enough, I've had it. And I pulled out the trump card, art, and that was it.
So you quit carpentry. You take out the trump card, you start painting. Tell me about the first things that you actually started painting, and like what inspired you at that age?
You know, it goes a bit back where I opened the gallery in my 30s, half step, like I was still doing carpentry,
yeah.
And I was dealing in old masters and restoring paintings. Although I didn't have the tremendous education I was doing, and a lot of great collectors were using me in galleries to restore because I was doing kind of a good job at it, and I was sneaking in some of my artworks in there, and you know, in the gallery. But again, I was going through the threshold, but I always was saying, well, if it doesn't work, I have the carpentry, and you know that really never works. It's either in
all in
or
nothing.
Yeah. So you know, I tasted a bit of the art world there, but I always was a big collector.
Oh yeah?
I'm a big collector today, and it's a lot of pain, to be honest with you. My wife can attest to that, because I spend quite a bit on collecting, and but if I didn't really collect, I don't think I would be the artist today. I've seen a lot of great works, and
Can you give me one of your faves, or artists, or?
I mean, you know, Dutch 17th century paintings, Rembrandt, you know, you know, Picasso. I like any school. I don't really care if it's a 13th century, 14th century painting, fresco, or a 20th century abstract work. I could see the beauty, and really, if it, like, the way I collect is if I see something, I don't say, well, let me think, I gotta have it. Sorry, I gotta have
You just
it.
go, you
I
jump.
can't
Okay.
wait.
You scared me there. I was like, are you gonna?
Sorry, that's a tremendous. So when people say to me,
You're fire, right?
So when people say to me, you know, like there was a lady in Miami, she said, well, you know, let me think about it. I said, you know what, the truth is this. When you buy a painting, when I buy a painting, I can't wait to get it home. So if you don't have that, you're not making the right decision. So she was like, so, oh, thank you for being so honest. And she called me later and kind of narrowed it down, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be decisive. You're not going to get married and say, you know what, if this doesn't work, I got something else at the side.
Please tell that to the camera. Is this his camera? Please tell it to the camera, because.
Well, when I married, you know, I got married late, so I mean, I think I waited till I got a bit of brains, but you know, you're going to get married. You're not going to say, well, if it doesn't work, I got something on the side. You're already failing.
Tell these guys out there. I mean, I don't want to take this into relationship chat, but it is what it is. You guys do these backups. The backups don't work, right?
Well, I don't think all guys are the same, and just
Put
the
them
same
in
as
the
all.
same.
Yeah. But you know what, Christine? You know,
Yeah.
I was very fortunate that I did find a great woman in my wife, Serafina, who actually has very strong, because to be married to an artist, it's really a no-win situation in a way, because it's all about me, and you need to be kind of strong. And she is super strong. I don't have much education, and I left school at an early age, art school especially. I didn't have the funding to pursue it. You know.
Oh, so you actually didn't do any
No,
art
did.
training
No,
in
I
school?
didn't.
Wow.
And you know what it was? Like, I remember one time we were in grade 9. I looked at a couple friends of mine. I know their names still to the day. I don't want to say. I said, our career's over. The amount of money that we had to spend just for supplies, it wasn't going to work out. I know my father was an immigrant. He wasn't making tremendous money. You know, love is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You go around hating. What are you going to do? Love. My paintings, I believe, is, you know, I love doing them. I love making people happy. The Jelly Bean series painting came from, you know, I remember I was in Mexico once. I had a yellow pair of shoes, and I walked out. I think somebody said something like banana. I got so paranoid, I threw them in the garbage. So celebrating color, you know, like trying to be different. I noticed the way everybody dresses down. You know, sometimes when I see somebody, like even Dennis Rodman, anybody who's doing something, Jimi Hendrix, something different, purple pants. I'd like to have the guts to wear purple pants, a yellow hat. I don't. So that's the whole thing. The Jelly Bean series started as a celebration of color. And I remember a friend of mine right away was like, I don't like that. And I said, well, you know, I'm going to keep painting it. But the reason that, you know, and a few guys said it, dealers, and later they came and apologized to me. And I told my wife, I said, that's something very rare, because when you attack it, it's not even you. It's your forefathers telling you, somebody's telling you that this color or whatever. When you finally open up and say, look, I love that painting, you know, to be free. If you accept and allow and look at something, then you can get something from it. If you're rigid.
Have you ever painted something where you started to work on it and you stopped? And you said, I can't finish it. It's just not me.
That's so good. That's such a great question. And yeah, you know, of course, I abandon all paintings. I never finish any painting, to be honest with you. I don't finish paintings because I consider
work is never done, it only dies,
it's
right?
not.
Like
It's
Picasso.
actually, that's the best, because once you complete it, you overwork it, you killed it, it's dead. You know, it's the end of the story. The paintings are a moment in time. You know, you got this power, this energy, all of a sudden you're going crazy, you're working on it. And then you say, you know what, that's it for today. That's why I work on 650 paintings at a time.
Well, you're so inspirational. Even that, like, I feel inspired. We're just being around you.
You know what, like, just knowing you briefly here, I know how much, just a few of the words that we talked earlier before, how perceptive and how aware you are, and that's a very beautiful gift. And just work on, you're making yourself happy. If you make yourself happy, you're gonna make people happy.
We're gonna see beautiful products from that. So since you had such a big lifestyle change and you became such a successful artist, and you told me earlier that you don't really like to travel, but you do.
Yeah.
Tell me about lifestyle and eating habits.
Well, I'm not really a picky eater, except when maybe it came to Korean food. It took me a while to kind of get used to that, but now
You're used to it.
I eat a lot of Korean food because of my wife. But my eating habits are, you know, I think they're okay, but I grew up with comfort food. Like I love
mom's Greek food, did you grow up with?
Yeah. So I love bread. I can eat a French stick easily. My wife does not. They don't eat bread. Koreans don't really eat bread. So that was a little bit of a difficult thing. But now I'm kind of realizing to kind of stay away from, even though I do it secretly, I can eat a loaf of bread with, you know, very quickly. I love bread. I love to have a salad, Greek salad with tomatoes, with a French stick. So my diet would be a little bit primitive, like a village type.
Sure. More Mediterranean.
Yeah,
right?
but it's comfort food. Like I love Italian food. Who doesn't? They're great dishes. I mean, any kind of food.
Do you have a favorite dish?
You know what? My dishes, you know, I have to say, FASOLADA bean soup is simple.
We have that in common, Peter.
Yeah,
I love my mom's, but it's got to be my mom's because you have to boil the beans really well.
Exactly.
Or
They
else-
leave them for a couple nights.
Do you have a favorite like junk food that you secretly do, or like something dessert?
I don't know. Dessert, you know, I have a really.
You have a sweet tooth?
Very much so. I mean, I eat tubs of ice cream all the time. My wife kind of stops me from that.
I see a Peter Triantos jelly bean ice cream coming.
There you go. That's why the jelly bean. Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Creative girl. I got
That
it.
is so
I
good.
gotcha.
You know what? We didn't.
You
even
heard
think
it
of
here
that.
first.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a jelly bean fasolada first. So you know.
Well, we're doing it at the end of the segment. I'm
Yes.
bringing your recipe
Excellent.
to an awesome chef. We're going to do it. So after this, commercial break, just a short one, a couple minutes, I am headed to the kitchen to try and make fasolada, which is essentially navy bean soup. It's a Greek comfort food given to me by the fabulous, the amazing, the inspiring Mr. Peter Triantos.
Thank you. And again, thank you all.
Because you told me earlier you did a lot of research.
I did.
Yeah, so you got some renditions on this classic dish.
I called up every single Greek friend that I have, which is a lot, and one specifically, Odysseus, was chatting with me about a couple of different variations. So we're going to be having some fun with this classic dish.
I am so excited. Now, fasolada.
Yes.
Have you ever made fasolada prior to this show?
I have never made it. I have just eaten it several times. So yeah, so it was great to actually make this dish.
Yeah, so you're familiar. It's basically beans and like tomato sauce, right? But
Come on, there's a
yeah,
little more
it's a
Greek
little
to it than
more-
that.
I'm still learning on the show.
Honestly. Well, I mean, first we had to start off with some great Greek olive oil.
Okay.
So we've got this going, and you are going to be aiding and assisting. So the whole base is sautéing some celery, onions, and carrots.
Okay.
Drop it in.
Okay.
So I've got some red onion, which gives it some really nice color.
Okay.
I'm going to shake this while you add.
Okay, great.
And then we can put in the celery. And I always like to leave the leaves on the celery. So try and use the hearts. And so it's a little bit more tender, a lot of flavor. It's awesome. Plus my grandmother used to do that for her borscht.
Oh, okay, wonderful. My mom always made fasolada with the celery. It adds a lot of flavor.
It totally does. And then the carrots. So I've got some heirloom carrots in here. Again, it's got to look good, right? So we've got orange, yellow, and white.
To say, speaking of look good, they are chopped so symmetrically. So, you know,
Don't fool around.
I did not do this. My mom was watching and she's like, I know Christina did not. No. Okay, I'm not that good yet.
There we go. We're good. You are going to be stirring.
Okay.
And let's add in a little bit more olive oil. I'm going to go in behind you.
Okay.
And we're just going to add a little bit more. The carrots are a little bit dry. So, I mean, generally you're putting in about 2 to 3 tablespoons. But if your vegetables are a little bit dry, you're going to have to add some more.
Okay.
We're going to crank up the heat to get this sauteing.
Okay.
Next, I'm going to add in some cracked pepper.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's always nice to be able to saute with fresh herbs because it gets the essential oils to actually release all the flavor and interacting with whatever you're cooking. Plus, it just smells good.
Yes, absolutely.
And then
I'm
a little
gonna
bit of
guess. Can I
salt.
guess what this is?
Sure.
Because I just had a lesson. That was pink Himalayan salt.
It is. So we're going to keep on cooking this up. As you can see, the onions are starting to look a little bit translucent, so
Yeah.
they're getting nice and soft.
Okay.
So I've already boiled the beans. That takes about 35 minutes,
We got to talk about that. Okay.
boiling the beans.
Yeah. Why do you? I always fight with my family about this. You need to boil the beans. Yes.
Well, yeah, otherwise, if you're just sauteing them, they're just going to get incredibly hard.
Yeah, or
so you've got to add in the moisture.
Okay. And then, isn't it true that when you boil them, you have less gas?
I don't know. I never have gas anyway.
You don't have a pulse? Okay. I had to ask the gas question because it was a joke growing up that like if you didn't boil the beans, then like they don't digest as well and they need to be pre-boiled. But you're saying they need to be pre-boiled to cook better.
Yes,
Nothing
absolutely.
to do with digestion.
Nothing to do with
Is that a myth?
digestion.
Oh my god. Okay.
You're going to have to check that out with my doctor. But yeah, no, I've never heard about that.
Really?
This is looking pretty good.
Okay.
Maybe
then-
give it a really good crank around.
Okay.
There
then
we go.
what's our
Release all the
cue so,
brownings.
like we know it's ready.
Well, as soon as the onions are translucent,
Yeah.
like really translucent,
Yeah.
and you can always taste as well, so let's taste.
Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty much there.
Yeah.
Because we're also going to be boiling it again. So you don't want to have them fully cooked. You want them to be part cooked. So this is perfect.
Okay.
Still a nice little bit of crunch, and then now we're going to add in our beans
Okay.
that may or may not give us gas.
But our pre-boiled.
Yes, they're definitely pre-boiled. So if you want to stir that in,
Okay.
I cooked a little bit more beans than we needed just so we can all look at them.
So like how many beans should we be?
So generally, if you're going to be serving 6 portions, you're going to do about 500 grams.
Okay.
So right there is about 700.
Okay.
So we've got a little bit extra. And if you want to stir that up a little bit more, you got to do some work here,
Yeah,
you know?
well, you put me to work. Some chefs don't let me touch anything.
I trust
Don't
you.
wanna mention
I
it.
trust you.
Okay.
I'm going to add in the water.
Okay.
Okay, so we want just enough water to just get to the surface. Oh, perfect,
Oh my
of
God,
course.
you nailed that.
It's not my first rodeo.
Okay.
Then we're gonna add in about 4 ounces of tomato puree.
Okay.
And I like to use the kind that's got some basil in it because it has some nice flavor.
Such a difference.
And then now we're gonna crank up the heat
Okay.
and just give that a really good stir. And we're gonna cover it up.
Okay.
I'm gonna add in a little bit more pepper.
Yeah, I love that.
And what this is gonna do is it's gonna release sort of all the starches out of the beans.
Okay.
So as it cooks, it's gonna thicken, and that's what
Okay.
we want. So it's a nice thick soup. And then also we wanna get the sweetness from the carrots, which is the other reason why I use the heirloom carrots, because they just have so much more flavor.
Oh, good tip. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long would we would cover this, right?
We're gonna cover it right now,
Okay.
and so let it simmer. I'm gonna bring it to a boil and then allow it to simmer. That's
Okay.
also a nice technique to be able to really get all the flavors together. And it's gonna work for about 25 minutes.
Okay, we bring it to a boil. We put on the lid.
Yes.
Do we lower the heat?
We are, so I'm gonna bring it to a boil and then we're gonna simmer it down after we've already covered it up.
Okay. And then we're gonna, before we cut to the commercial break, I want you to tell the audience a little bit what we're gonna surprise them with in the next segment, because you brought a few variations. Give us a little info on that.
So from talking to Odysseus and also from when I've had this before, I've actually had it with cooked ground lamb
Okay.
as a garnish on top. So we're gonna add it with that, as well as some beautiful Kalamata olives.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna, we garnish that. We don't
We're
cook
gonna garnish it. We're not gonna cook it in there. So it's gonna go right on top.
Okay.
It's gonna make it look beautiful, and
Okay.
it's gonna make it taste amazing.
And Peter also said that he loves Greek Village salad and bread. So I know you've got something.
We're also gonna be doing that with heirloom tomatoes, actually 4 different types of tomatoes,
Oh.
including sun-dried, and also a really cool technique for how to make the dressing and the cheese to actually really build up the flavors.
Oh my God, sounds amazing. Greek feta cheese you brought me.
Obviously, come
Okay,
on now,
okay.
really?
Stay here. We're going to do all of this when we return, and of course the final reveal. And we're going to talk about your book.
For sure, and let me grab the lid.
Okay. grab- I'm hungry. My mom is going to be so happy when she sees this episode. You learned how to make fasolada,
It's a beautiful gift to learn how to make these kind of food, right?
and it's a gift to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. So now I'm going to put my little spin on it.
Okay.
From what my friends have told me and what I came up with.
Okay.
So because this is a pretty earthy soup, I wanted to do a flamed lemon.
Amazing.
So I threw this on my grill. You can smell it.
Oh my God,
So
that's
it just
amazing.
activates all the essential oils on the peel, and
Great
it works
trick.
really, really nicely on here. So
Beautiful
I'm just going to put
trick.
a little bit of microplaning on here. It looks great. Plus, because the soup is nice and hot, it's really going to bring out that great little citrus tone and kind of freshen it up a little bit.
And you know what's great too, because I love putting lemon in my fasolada, but I kept getting all the seeds, and then I would like get stuck, choke kind of.
Which you don't want to choke and get stuck eating fasolada. Death by fasolada. I never want to hear that. So this is just the zest on there. So you're getting all that lemon, and you don't need that much,
Yes.
which is great. Plus a little bit of smokiness.
Okay.
So
wonderful.
now, some ground lamb.
Okay.
So I'm going to garnish up one of them for those who are still eating meat.
Okay.
A little bit of ground lamb on there. And next, candy cane beets.
Okay.
Because they look beautiful and they
Yes.
taste so good.
Yes.
So again, you know how we're talking about the sweetness of the heirloom carrots?
Yeah.
This is going to do the exact same thing.
'Kay.
Plus, it just looks awesome in there. And just a little bit, you can shred it a little bit too if you want, put in
Okay.
some pieces. And again, this is my spin on it.
Okay.
And
Beautiful.
fasolada.
Okay. Beautiful. And we have to talk about this beautiful bread that you brought today.
So I got this. I have an amazing bakery near my house, Penny
Yeah.
Fresco, and they do a lot of really cool sort of traditional breads.
Okay.
So this is filled with Kalamata olives.
Oh my gosh.
It is so tasty. It's crusty on the outside,
Okay.
super, super soft on the inside. So you can slice it up, dip it in, whatever you
It
like.
looks beautiful. And since you mentioned the olives, you did say that your friend Odysseus said that he does put the olives.
He does.
Yeah.
He puts them right in. So normally they would set them up beside the bowl, and he's like, we just throw them in as we wanted. So
Okay.
I've got some beautiful Kalamata olives, which we can add in as well
Okay.
as an homage to Odysseus.
Yes. And they're very good for us.
Absolutely they are, and they taste awesome.
Yes. And so you have a beautiful salad over there.
Yes.
While you're talking to us about that, you know, I feel like
You gotta try.
I want
mean,
to dip.
hey.
Yeah. I want to take a little try of this, but and I will let you know if it's like my mom's.
I appreciate
I tell you
that.
the truth. But tell me about that salad.
So this is a traditional Greek village salad. So nice and chunky, and I've got 5 different types.
Just a moment. This is, you outdid yourself.
Thank you,
This
I
is,
appreciate that.
Mama, you have a little competition with the fasolada.
We'll have a fasolada off.
You know what? I can taste the pepper. You put a little bit extra pepper, which I really liked.
I did.
The carrots, the sweetness came out. Beautiful job.
Thank you very
Beautiful.
much. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So for the traditional Greek salad, you
Okay.
want it to be nice and chunky because you want the cucumber, the peppers, the onion,
Okay.
and all the tomatoes to really absorb everything. Of course, you need Greek feta,
Okay.
which I've got as well. Next, I'm going to add in some fresh herbs
Okay.
just to toss it on top. So this is a mixture of basil, oregano, and thyme.
Okay.
And then I'm going to add in sun-dried tomatoes.
Okay.
So we've got sun-dried tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and we've got all the heirloom tomatoes
Okay.
as well. So it looks beautiful. And this is just going to give some nice sort of saltiness to it.
Okay.
A little bit of acidity. And then, yeah.
And you
voila.
had a special garnish for that. Tell me about that.
So this is what I did. So I've infused Greek olive oil, of course, with oregano, thyme, basil, and sage, some garlic and chili flakes. Shake it up like crazy. So instead of doing an olive oil and balsamic dressing, I put this on, toss it, and then add on a fig and balsamic reduction.
My
So it's
fave.
nice and thick, it works beautifully, and that's why it coated the vegetables so nicely.
Yeah.
And it just adheres to everything, plus the flavor is awesome. So you get the sweetness, the earthy tones, and all the savoriness.
And what's the thought behind the chili flakes?
Because I like spice.
You
I
like the spice. You like the spice. We like the spice here on Star Foodies too. Now, before I let you go, because I want to continue eating the fasolada,
Yeah,
tell me
of
about the
course.
book.
So this is my book, Invite. It's my second
Okay.
book. And it's filled with cocktails because I create drinks for about 60% of the liquor labels.
Okay.
And I love
Wow.
to drink, so
Impressive.
anyway.
Okay.
And the middle is all canapes, and the end is all paired up menus. Just like the classic books of the 60s and 70s that my mom used to have, and it tells you what kind of wine to pair with this and different
Oh my
cocktails
God.
and entertaining
We need
tips.
help with that.
Well, yeah.
And what a great gift.
I think
Because
so.
people are always asking, what do you pair things up with? So we can find that in your book.
For sure, absolutely.
Where can we find the book?
You can find it at Indigo, you can find it at Williams-Sonoma, right across North America, as well as at select.
God, you're a rock star in the
independent-
kitchen. Look at you.
I do what I
Published
can.
at Indigo. My God, fabulous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's been an honor to learn from you today.
It's been a pleasure.
And I'm going to continue eating now. We are all stars, right?
Yes,
so
we
we got
are.
to eat like Star Foodies. Bye.
Bye.
That's why we're both cancers, and you think very much, we think alike, you know, because I am very picky who I allow in my studio and who works for us in a way, because, you know, I'm doing positive things, and if somebody's not kind of feeling that, and you know, it can be very laborious.
Destructive, and it could be destructive. You don't want that negative
Yes.
energy, right? We
Yes.
want to keep high energy
Yeah,
vibes
of
here.
course. You know what I mean? It's already, you know, you don't need that. I've seen it my whole life where, you know, there's no reason. At 58, I'm starting to realize that, you know, I want to be very specific who I give my time and who I allow in my life.
In your energy.
Really, yeah.
100%.